This video is about how a woman who was quietly erased by someone she trusted, and how silence and control allowed the truth to hide in plain sight.
Don't forget to subscribe for more chilling tales. Drop your location in the comments. We want to know where you're listening from. This is Silence After the Screams, your weekly dose of spine and chilling true crime. Like and subscribe so you never miss what's coming next.
I remember the day people started saying she had probably just left, because that was the moment I knew something was deeply wrong. She didn't leave. She didn't drift away. She didn't decide to disappear. She was there in the morning, living her normal life, following her routine the way she always did. And by the afternoon, it was like someone had reached in and erased her without warning. Messages stopped. Calls went unanswered. Her name stopped appearing where it should have been. And suddenly everyone was acting as if this kind of silence was normal. When people finally went into her apartment, everything was still in its place, almost too perfect, like the room was holding its breath. Her clothes were folded the way she always folded them. Her phone was still charging where she left it, lighting up again and again with missed calls that would never be returned. The door was locked, nothing broken, nothing disturbed, and somehow that made it worse, because it meant whatever happened had not been loud or messy. It had been controlled. When she was reported missing, the response was slow and careful in a way that felt empty. People asked if she had been stressed, if she had problems, if she might have wanted to start over somewhere else. They spoke as if patience could replace action, as if waiting would magically turn absence into an explanation. No one asked the most important question: who had access to her life? Because someone did. Someone knew her schedule, knew how to enter her space without force, knew how to speak to her in a way that made her doubt herself instead of fighting back. He never needed threats that could be proven or anger that could be seen, because control works best when it feels quiet and reasonable. Looking back, the signs were there. Friends noticed changes before she vanished. Small things that felt wrong but were easy to excuse. She replied slower. She second-guessed herself more. She apologized for things that were not her fault. At the time, it looked like stress. Now it looks like someone had been reshaping her world piece by piece. The last person to see her said everything was fine. He said she seemed normal. He said she had plans. He said she left on her own. And the way he said it, calm and steady, felt wrong, because nothing about the situation was calm, and nothing about her disappearance made sense. Days passed, then weeks, and not knowing became its own kind of suffering. Her family waited for updates that never came, staring at their phones, replaying memories, wondering which moment they should have paid more attention to. What no one realized yet was that the truth hadn't gone far. It was close, it was familiar, and it was hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to stop asking why she left, and start asking who made sure she couldn't come back. What made everything worse was that while she was gone, someone stayed. Life around her absence didn't collapse the way you expected to, and that was unsettling, because the world kept moving as if nothing irreversible had happened. People still went to work, still laughed in public, still spoke about her disappearance in lowered voices, like saying her name too loudly might make the situation real. And then there was him. He was present in every conversation, every update, every search effort, standing close enough to be helpful, but never close enough to be questioned. He offered explanations before anyone asked, for them, and reassured people with a calm that felt practiced, like someone who had already accepted an outcome no one else was ready to face. He talked about her in the past tense before anyone else did, and when that detail was noticed, it was dismissed as stress or grief, because people tend to protect what feels familiar. Trust filled in the gaps where doubt should have lived. But the longer she was gone, the more things stopped lining up. Small inconsistencies began to surface, not dramatic enough to demand attention, but persistent enough to cause unease. He remembered conversations she never mentioned. He described plans she had never shared. He explained her silence, with reasons that sounded reasonable, until you heard them too many times. The people closest to her felt it first. That tightening feeling in the chest that tells you something is wrong even when you cannot prove it. They replayed past interactions, remembered moments that felt insignificant at the time, and wondered why she had grown quieter around him. more careful with her words, less sure of herself. Control when done well doesn't look like force. It looks like concern. It sounds like advice. It feels like protection. He never isolated her suddenly, never demanded anything outright, never left marks that anyone could point to. Instead, he adjusted her reality slowly, correcting her memories, questioning her instincts, making her feel like she needed guidance instead of autonomy. So when she vanished, the groundwork had already been laid. Questions were deflected gently. Timelines were softened. Attention was redirected toward theories that placed responsibility everywhere, except where it belonged. And every day that passed without answers made the truth harder to reach. Because uncertainty erodes urgency. Authorities came and went, paperwork accumulated, and still the same assumption hung in the air. That adults make choices, and sometimes those choices look like disappearance. It was easier to believe she had left than to believe she had been taken, without leaving a trace. But there were moments when the mask slipped. A reaction that came too late. An answer that arrived too quickly. A story that shifted just enough to feel wrong. And each time, the feeling returned stronger than before. The sense that while everyone was searching for her somewhere far away, the real danger had never moved at all. It was still there, still watching, still shaping the story. What no one knew yet was that the silence surrounding her disappearance was about to break. Not because someone confessed, but because the version of events everyone accepted could no longer hold its shape. And when it finally cracked, it would force people to confront a truth far more disturbing than a simple disappearance. By the time people accepted that she wasn't coming back on her own, the damage had already been done. Because silence has a way of reshaping reality when it lasts long enough. The search lost momentum in ways no one wanted to admit, replaced by routine updates and careful language that avoided final conclusions. Hope lingered, but it was fragile now, stretched thin by time and unanswered questions. And everyone could feel that the story was drifting towards something darker. He was still there through all of it, still present, still calm, still explaining. The way he spoke never changed, even as concern turned into dread, and that consistency became unsettling. Because most people crack under pressure, especially when someone they claim to care about is missing. He did not. His words stayed smooth, his tone steady, his concern carefully measured, as if he had already made peace with an outcome no one else could accept. Then something shifted. It wasn't a confession or a dramatic mistake, but a quiet detail that refused to stay buried. Something small enough to be overlooked, but wrong enough to matter. A timeline that didn't fit, a memory that contradicted itself. A moment where his certainty arrived too quickly, as if he knew the answer before the question was finished. People began to listen differently after that. They replayed old conversations. They reconsidered things they had brushed aside. They asked themselves why certain explanations had felt comforting instead of convincing, and why doubt had always been redirected before it could settle. The truth did not rush in. It crept. It surfaced through patterns instead of proof, through absence instead of evidence, and through the growing realization that her disappearance had not created chaos in his life, but control. He knew where to stand, what to say, and how to keep attention moving in the wrong direction. That was when the focus finally shifted, not outward, not away, but inward, toward the person who had never left. As pressure mounted, the questions changed, no longer asking where she might have gone, but when she had lost the ability to choose at all. Investigators returned to moments once considered harmless, conversations once labeled supportive, and actions once framed as concern. And suddenly, the story everyone had accepted no longer made sense. Because disappearances don't erase people this completely without help. And control doesn't end just because someone is gone. The last update came quietly, without headlines or warning, delivered in the kind of tone that tells you something irreversible is about to follow. Those closest to the case felt it immediately, that familiar tightening in the chest, the feeling that the truth had finally reached the surface. But before anyone could fully understand what it meant, before answers could settle into certainty, everything stopped, and the silence returned. Only this time it felt different. He knew that it was over, and somewhere, the truth was no longer hiding. It was waiting to be seen.